Andrea Brundage is a professional organizer and a bringer of calm.
Oh, we all need some calm.
Andrea Brundage, apologies. Simplify your life. 8 simple principles to turn your chaos into calm. Oh, that means I got to throw stuff out.
You got to throw some stuff out. We got to talk about you throwing stuff out.
Andrea, do I have to throw stuff out?
Possibly.
You just made my wife very happy.
She's taking notes right now.
Very happy.
Right.
Let's jump in. What are your 8 simple principles? Start off.
Well, the first one is S so we're going to go through the word simplify.
Okay.
So the first one is S, and that's to start small, but you got to start.
Start small, meaning pick a spot anywhere?
It's really more about a mindset. So a lot of times we say, oh, I need to organize my house. Well, that's too big of a project. So we want to start with something that we can actually start and finish within a reasonable amount of time that we have available.
So can it be just the big pile of papers that's pile up on the countertop? It's mail, it's this, it's that, it's whatever that lands in there. Or could it be your full pantry?
It depends on how much time you have, and how quickly you make decisions is also critical. So if you have 10 minutes, this is not the time to decide to purge your master closet. But what you could do is perhaps do a junk drawer or part of a junk drawer. Or maybe the top shelf of your refrigerator. So, really thinking through, what do I have time right now? What am I willing to allocate time for to start and finish so that we can start building some momentum?
All right. Since we started through Simplify, what's I?
I is to identify. I'm sorry, I don't have my list in front of me.
Okay.
Big pressure.
I know.
Pressure.
Steve jumped right in with the whole 8 simple steps. I was ready to ask about.
We sure did.
I was ready to ask about photo albums.
I know you know your stuff.
Identify
your problem areas. So like we were just kind of touching on, is it the master closet that we want to deal with? Is it, the junk drawer? Is it the car? What areas are really causing you problems? And, how does your life flow around your house? Do we have some gridlock maybe at the front door that we can identify and clear that out so we have clear paths to the next steps?
And it sounds like this is all in the books available on Amazon and everywhere, and get 2 copies. You're careless, you'll lose one. That's not clutter. That's just smart.
Or you could get it electronically.
Well, then download one extra
even better.
after you get the 2 hard copies.
And then you lose it on your Kindle.
And give away gifts. This is a perfect gift. All right, so the deal here to me seems to be you're saying do these little things to get cranked up, pick an area, and then feel the win, right? That's how you keep the ball rolling?
Absolutely. As with all things, consider it, a weight loss program. Everything happens in the little small increments, but when we stick with it and actually have an end goal in mind, we create this momentum, and we actually can start and finish, which is critical to being organized. We got to start and finish projects, and that's not to say we're ever done, because we continually have opportunities to go back.
Never, ever done organizing. We hear a lot. We live in a country of chaos, but sometimes we have a home of chaos because we have too many things, and sometimes too many things can cause a lot of stress. But I say more is more and less is a bore. So if it doesn't spark joy, don't throw it out, turn it into something else. Although I do feel sometimes there's stress. That clutter is causing me distress for so many reasons, and I feel overwhelmed. So we look at your book, these to simplify our
8
life.
simple principles to turn your chaos into calm.
So we're looking at the 8 simple principles to turn the chaos into calm.
Right, but you were talking about photo albums. Photo albums to me are memorabilia.
Yes, and you can calm, but when I say more is more, I don't want to get rid of the family heirloom. It's hard for me to release. Steve, you can talk about this. You have a garage full of memorabilia.
Yeah, why do you hate our families, Andrea? Why? Tell us.
Well, I'm going to be real honest. I'm the keeper of the photos for our family.
Oh, you are?
So, yes. But let me tell you, there are other things that you can let go of that don't hold that emotional baggage that those things do, or the emotional importance that those things do. So if we're just using that as the anchor to hold everything else down, that doesn't work. But what can we process and process easily and let go of easily, that will serve us well, and also the people that we gift these things to. So we hold on to this stuff as if, we're the keeper of all things. And what, in fact, we're doing is we're burdening ourselves, but we're also keeping things out of circulation that might benefit someone else.
Well, but see, here's the thing with the family stuff and the memorabilia, and I admit this. I am a big sentimental fool. And my family, delightful people, love them all, but my family, not so much. They can throw things out that I can't. I'm sure somewhere there's a box of the kids' report cards 30 years ago now. Well, not 30, 25 years ago now that I've kept that I'll never look at again. But I couldn't bring myself to throw them out. I can't be the only one. I'm not the only sap, am I?
You can't throw it out.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the question is, are you holding on to them for yourself or for your kids?
Well, I'm holding on to them because I think it's the right thing to do. And I have this delusional state where I believe I'm going to get joy out of them and go back and look at them when I'm ready to admit that no, it's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. What if we just took pictures of those things and let them go?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Passed them on to the kids and let them decide what happens to them.
You can't trust them. They'll throw everything out.
I was going to say, but you want to make sure you have on your heart guard that day.
Heart guard.
Yeah, you know what?
That's good.
I want to plug the book again. Can you hang with us for a second? We got to do some news, but I think you have more important things to say, and I think you have a possibility to save me,
think so.
Save
and
me
your
from
marriage.
myself. The book is called "Simplify Your Life: 8 Simple Principles to Turn Your Chaos into Calm." The expert, Andrea Brundage. She loves her family. She loves your family. She's just trying to help. And when we come back, a brand new segment I just invented. Steve, throw that crap out.
Yes.
Let's see how we do. Let's see. It's the theme to Andrea Brundage's life. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. She joins us now. She's trying to fix me and you and everybody else with Simplify Your Life, 8 Simple Principles to Turn Your Chaos into Calm. Jane?
Oh, well, there's so many things that I need to learn about turning my chaos into calm. When do you get to the point when you look around and you're decluttering and you're trying to feel better that you go, I can get rid of this. I have all I need.
When you actually listen to the tension that this stuff causes you, it's time to let it go. If you walk in your house and you're not feeling peaceful and grateful to be home and at peace because all this stuff is clamoring for your attention, we've got too much stuff.
Well, here's the deal. And I know procrastination is a problem that most people have, not a few.
Yes.
But I've got a delightful cocktail going on. I've got ADD and procrastination. And so I'll keep stuff, and I swear to you I'll get to it. But then I procrastinate, and then by the time I get to it, I've moved on to yet another system. I'll be 63 in March. I am now in year, I'd say 40. Year 40, 41, 42 of looking for just the right system to straighten me out. So tell me if I'm crazy, but here's the deal. If you admit you have ADD, and again, most of us do, I've kind of landed on this. Just do one thing.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter if it's the most important thing in the day in the big picture. Just do one thing and get it accomplished. Is that crazy?
That is not crazy, and that's the best way to handle distractions or, like you said, ADD. Depression is another one that a lot of
Oh, yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, so a lot of people who have depression also have clutter issues, and part of it is the follow-through and the attention span and just how much energy we have. So accomplishing small goals they'll build on each other if we can just promise ourselves to stick with it.
So almost 40% of Americans rent a self-storage unit. I used to have 2 storage units when I lived in a small city apartment. We bring that stuff home, and sometimes we just keep it and we leave it in there. If we're cluttered at home and we've got a storage unit that's cluttered, the first step is still start small, or should we just get rid of that storage unit to feel a release right away?
Well, I think it's a nice thought that you're going to just go pull up the dumpster and dump it all in. But the reality is once you start looking at the things, you're going to get distracted. So really having achievable, realistic goals. And that means small. For most people, it means small. We don't have necessarily the time nor the bandwidth nor the attention span to go through an entire storage unit in one fell swoop. So very often what will happen is we'll plan that, and we're going to give up our storage unit this weekend. So we load up all the stuff in the truck and bring it now to our house to never be seen again.
Right, exactly. My wife texted. She said, "Are you listening?" Now, she knows.
I love it.
She knows this is the only show I get on my headphones. She said, "Are you listening? Love this guest. This guest is so fun." So that's great. Maybe
Maureen rarely texts in, so this is a very, very strong point in your life, Steve.
Yeah, so maybe Andrea and Maureen could get a place together. I'm sure it'd be very tidy.
It'd be very clean. I think, too, another interesting part, a lot of people downsizing. And to downsize, you have to get rid of a lot of things. So it's what to keep, what not to keep situation. And then you don't want to end up overcluttering your new downsized home. Do you save that stuff and give it to the kids? Or do you, for me, I try to find a place that could use it, like maybe there's a domestic violence shelter that needs some furniture, or, a student that needs dishes.
Absolutely. We want to pass those things on. So one of the things that we tend to do is we use phraseology that doesn't really serve us well. And one of the terms that we use when we're decluttering is get rid of. There's a negative connotation to get rid of. What if instead we're passing it on or we're releasing it to someone else? Do you feel the difference just in the words? It's so different. Yeah. And you actually have permission to give things away. And that's one of the things working with a professional organizer that you hope to get is to feel like, you know what, I've had this stuff long enough. I have permission to let these things go.
So
that's great.
I am not a hoarder. I am a clutterer. But I have stuff that I know is important, because otherwise, why would I have put it in the...
Everything you have is important.
Why would I have put it in the place, where I knew it was important? And I'm thinking particularly under the printer in my office, I've got this delightful wicker basket, and in it I know are various things like several notebooks with stand-up ideas, pieces of jokes, things like that. Things related to the show, other things that I should go through. Jimmy Hoffa could be in there if you're old enough to know that reference. But every time I look at it, I go, I got to get to that. I got to get to that. That phrase, I got to get to that. How do people beat that?
Well, we have to recognize that what we're creating when we create piles and piles of things or boxes and boxes of things, that is simply delayed decisions. So I call it delayed decision disorder.
That's cool. That's one more thing I've got.
I'm writing all these down for you. You put your heart guard on, delayed decision disorder.
D3. We'll call it D3, delayed decision disorder.
D3, D cubed. Yes. So, we really have to be mindful. So Jane, you mentioned paperwork. A lot of people tend to delay decisions related to paperwork. And so we're like, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm going to just set that aside. Well, we're setting aside massive amounts of things that we should just decide and do something about, because they're not going away just because we didn't decide today. They're going to continue to grow. They're like a virus, literally.
Speaking of viruses, Tom?
Well, I wanted to ask, I'm a collector of many things. I've got a record collection, a DVD collection, all books, all this kind of stuff. But I do know that I need to cut down on some of it. And I do a fairly good job, but I feel like I've paid money for these things. I did get enjoyment out of them. Is it also sane to be trying to look for avenues to recoup some of the money I've spent on this stuff that I did enjoy, but now I'm ready to move on from?
Well, you have to evaluate what your time's worth. Are you willing to spend the time to take the photos, to field all the texts and emails that come in, to put it out on Marketplace, take it to a consignment store? Are you willing to spend the time doing that kind of thing? And what's your return on investment? For some people, it makes perfect sense and it becomes like a side hobby. For other people, the tax write-off is worth it just to let it go, get it out of your circulation and out into the world so someone else can enjoy it.
So what do you want to sell, or you don't know if you want to sell, Tom?
It depends on what it is. If it's grandma's china, is there a market for grandma's china?
Yeah, at grandmaschina.com. You can go there.
There is if you want to sell your china, there is a website for that. And the trend is to do serving on mismatched china. But I always say, if I want to give something away, give it to somebody who I think would like it. Give it to someplace that might need it. And then if I really think it's still good, instead of throwing it out, because I don't want anything to go into the landfills, I give it to a Goodwill or a Salvation Army or one of those type of places.
See, I swear to you,
Absolutely.
and I'm not even being flip, just hearing your explanation of your thought process
Too much.
makes me tired enough to put it away and not do it. So I just need to just do the one thing and live that principle that I said I would live.
Absolutely. And also figure out where you are in your life and what do you need today moving forward. Not where were you back there. You don't need all those same things coming forward in your life.
I don't know. That
all
leisure-
those notes. All those notes. You don't need them. Those notebooks from like 20 years ago.
You don't know. Spiro Agnew jokes could come back. That leisure suit. You don't know.
You can test that with an audience and find out if they know who Spiro Agnew is.
You know,
That would be fun.
That could be the longest night on stage ever. Simplify your life. 8 simple principles to turn your chaos into calm. It's Andrea Brundage, my wife's favorite guest ever.
Ever 40 plus years of doing the job.
Yeah. So get it on Amazon and wherever great books and great ideas are sold. Get multiple copies, download them. That's the only thing you should keep is your book.
And give us your website.
Professional Organizer, AZ.com.
There you go.
All right. Call me every half hour, see how I'm doing. Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea.
8:45, and Nick's here. Nick, are you not a hoarder,
That's
but
why he was
are you a
quiet the whole
clutterer?
time. He has a lot of stuff.
When people die, I seem to want to be the one to get it all. So, yeah. But, I've done some things like she was talking about some of your stuff that you feel sentimental about. And, are you keeping it for yourself or for your children? So one of my cousins, he's got a house and he's got a nice little bar in his basement. Well, we grew up with a grandmother house who had a bar in the basement. Somehow I got a lot of that stuff. And so, like when we went down for Thanksgiving to see his family, I brought a bunch of that stuff with me
And he loved
gave it to him because it reminds him of his childhood. And he's got a bar and I don't. So what the hell am I doing with the stuff?
Yeah, it's not your fault.
And it
She was an alcoholic,
Right.
I mean, it's somebody else's problem.
But it made me feel better that at least it's staying in the family and going to somebody that can use it rather than sitting in my basement in a
Exactly.
box.
Doing nothing.
Well, I'll give you one last example. I've said to my kids, I go, look, I know this doesn't mean as much to you as it does to me, but after 35,000 hours on the air, pretend you're interested until 15 minutes after I'm dead, then you can throw it out.
Burn it.
They said, you mean the tapes and all that crap in the garage? I said, yeah, all that crap in the garage. That's my career.
Thanks, kids.